Hey everybody, today is September 27, 2023. I'm Gene, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Hanging with Uncle. Before we get started, as always, if you have not yet, please hit that subscribe button. We're really trying to grow our channel, and if you already have subscribed, hit that like button. It really helps to get the word out there and spread it out there. And hit that notification bell on the far right so you'll be notified whenever we go live, put out new content. And with that, let's jump into it. So we have another looming government shutdown coming up in 3 days. Full stop. Now, who is responsible for that? The Senate has passed bipartisan bill and forwarded to the House to fund the government at current 2023 spending levels, which means there's not one more penny added to the budget, no increased spending. It's at the same levels. Okay. Also, the funding the government pays the government's bills for money it's already spent. That's why it's called a credit rating, why we have full faith and credit. Okay, so we don't want our standing in the world to be one of default. What that would do would severely increase interest rates because our borrowers, which don't forget, the top three owners of American debt are Japan, China, and Saudi Arabia. So imagine the screws that they would put on us, increasing interest rates because we've defaulted on our debt. Notwithstanding all the federal employees that would not get paid, except Congress, they always had that loophole in there where they get paid no matter what, but it sucks to be you. You know, again, sacrifice yourself for me kind of attitude from the Congress. But I am glad to see there is a bipartisan bill in the House floating around that would deny Congress or the House of Representatives their pay if the government goes into a shutdown, because they're the ones that have the authority. The ball's in their court. The Senate has already presented their proposal, so Kevin McCarthy is a weak speaker, and that's why nothing can get done in the House. So that brings me to next year, November 24, okay? Because looking at this now, at what Republicans are doing, what Kevin McCarthy is doing, that is the one who is in control right now of the House. It takes both branches of Congress, the House and the Senate, to get together to pass a bill to put on the president's desk. Again, the Senate has done their part. We're waiting on McCarthy and the Republicans to get their act together. So looking at who wants to shut the government down and how weak McCarthy has been as a speaker, I am more inclined to vote for the Democrat, because it appears to me that when Democrats have power, things get done for the American people. We could get things like the child tax credit extended. We could do things like making sure we invest in green energy and start spending the money from the Infrastructure Act, like windmill power off the coastline, free energy. it's there. You harness the energy and you use that instead of putting more carbon emissions in the air. So, I mean, those are just a couple of things, that I see and why I will be voting Democrat. And it would be a very big uphill climb because the district in which I live in, Debbie Lesko is the representative here. And she's a big MAGA, person. So I will be voting against her, and I hope a lot of the independents out there see through her, recognize what she's doing, because a lot of these senior citizens will be affected by what's going on if the government shuts down with Medicare and updating cards and making sure they have current health care. And that is what these guys are trying to take away right now, or shutting down and having fun doing it, all in the name of, look at me, I want to run for Congress, look at what I'm doing, I'm standing up to the Democrats, blah, blah, blah. And that's not your job. Your job, number one, is to enact legislation that promote the general health, safety, and welfare of the people of the United States. That's the first thing. Without making laws that involve church and state. Make sure that church and state are kept separate from one another. Keep my tax dollars out of your church. Okay? And freedom of the press is very important, because I've already heard Cadet Bonespurs talking about he wants to do away with freedom of the press. Now, not that he can do that, but if he gets in charge and Republicans get in charge, you better believe they will make laws that will do away with the Constitution. And the writing is on the wall. It's plain as day to see. And if you don't want to see it, then again, this whole thing is about choosing based on the issues, not a party. I'm registered no party preference. I wish Bob Menendez would step down and resign instead of taking that disgrace into November 24 and smearing Joe Biden's chances across the country because we have a corrupt Democrat in office who doesn't know how to, I don't know, stop taking bribes. So it's ridiculous, but Bob Menendez, you need to resign. And I guess we'll talk about more of that on Friday with Zane, because I could ramble on about this forever. So pay attention to the issues. Pay attention to who has the authority to do what. And if you have questions, let's talk about it. Leave comments down there in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to, talk about this with you as rationalized, civilized human beings. All right? So that's all I have to say for this evening. You guys take care, be good to one another, and Zane and I look forward to seeing you on Friday.